Welcome to America's National Park of Speed, Road America, situated in scenic Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and today the site of Round 8 of the TC America, powered by Skip Barber Racing School season. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is in the booth, Amanda Busick is in the pit lane, and it is our pleasure to have your company as we head into the second race of the weekend for the touring cars under the SRO America umbrella. It is three separate classes all about to go, TCX, TC, and TCA. And if yesterday was any indication, Calvin, this track and these cars are primed to put on a great show.
Yeah, we saw some great racing here yesterday, and for two of the championship contenders, they had big days. Jacob Rude continued his unbeaten run in TCX, and Austin Smith, 3 wins in a row, has thrown him right in the championship chase. Vakata Fartuk, our TCA winner yesterday, well, as his debut victory, so a big day for him. Celebrations last night, but ready to go today.
The grid today was set by the fastest lap of the race in yesterday's race, and so we do have some interesting shuffles of the order, but it is still Jacob Rude out in front as far as the TCX field is concerned. The hometown hero from nearby Racine will start on pole, but his closest challenger all season long is the newcomer, Stephen Cugliari, who will start to his outside. We'll talk more about the grid in a moment, but first, standing down on the grid is Amanda Busick.
Oh, and the 32 entries here in this TC category are ready to hit the racetrack. There are 12 entries out of that TC category, and the top 4 will start in the top 4 spots. The top 4 points will start in the top 4 spots from that grid. But I want to point out Austin Smith. Cal, as you mentioned, he swept Virginia under red flag conditions. However, he did take the checkered flag yesterday and got those crucial 25 points. He's looking to add to his points lead here this weekend, and it's becoming a Hyundai versus Honda battle here at Road America.
Hyundai versus Honda behind Austin Smith. That BMW has been incredibly strong. It seems like we've been talking about that no matter what class we're talking about, Calvin. GT3, GT4, or here in touring cars.
Yeah, it seems to be the same story wherever we're going with the classes. But so for Austin Smith, big day yesterday. He certainly seemed to have the fastest car on the racetrack, and he brought it home. First full points win, as Amanda alluded to, with reduced race lengths at Virginia, but he scored his 3rd win in a row, has thrown him right into this championship battle. So for Eric Powell, he's starting to feel the heat a little bit, really feels that Honda has not got the pace of some of his competitors here this weekend, so that frustration has to be put to one side. He's just got to try and execute and bring home as many points as he has.
Starting grid flashing up on the screen. We will have multiple starts, multiple waves, you might say, for each of the 3 classes. That is to separate them some, but if, as we saw yesterday, if there is a full course yellow, everyone gets bunched up together again, and then sometimes chaos ensues.
That's for sure. So hopefully have a good clean race here today, but perfect weather conditions. There has been a little bit of a threat of rain, but seems to have passed by. Skies look pretty good right now. Mid-80s ambient temperature. Track is in good condition despite a little bit of oil ride down in this turn 3 brake zone. That all seems to be cleaned up with a lot of action since that time.
Talked about Jacob Rude and the season he's had. He's been undefeated so far, but a new challenger has emerged in the form of Stephen Cugliari, making his debut yesterday, and an impressive debut it was. He was 1/1000th of a second from taking pole for race number 1, and he was right there shadowing Rude for much of the race going back to Saturday's affair.
Yeah, and he's got a front row starting spot based on his fastest lap yesterday, a little bit further off, 3 or 4 tenths off of Rude's fast lap. So I think if he can settle down a little bit, he certainly had pace here yesterday, but had a few moments as we look at the racetrack here in itself. 14 turns, just over 4 miles, lots of elevation change, but the real key here, great racing, because there's good overtaking opportunities down these long, fast stretches into these heavy brake zones. That's where all the action should take place today.
Talk about the long straightaways. Some of them aren't so straight, like the Moraine sweep or the run from the exit of the carousel through the kink down to Canada Corner, but what they are for sure are fast, and they end with heavy braking zones. That's where those passing opportunities emerge, and in these cars with limited horsepower at the driver's disposal, it's a crucial area. You got to get a good exit and then be in that slipstream. That's where the passing opportunities could arise.
Yeah, Vakata Fartuk, for example, our TCA winner yesterday, he had to put it all on the line through the kink, got that run on Caleb Bacon and got the lead, and he had to take a bit of a risk in doing it. He had 2 wheels in the grass coming through this kink section, but he made it stick, and that's the commitment you need here at Road America to make the win happen.
Lights off on the safety car. We're about to go. The TCX field, that's what you look at there. All BMWs at this stage in the season, but that field continuing to grow in the debut season for the class. TC will see Jeff Rika starting on the pole in the Gin Racer Hyundai. It was really impressive yesterday. Austin Smith, yesterday's winner, will start alongside on the front row. Then Eric Powell and Kevin Boehm as the top four in that class are all clustered together as far as the points are concerned, and also in the qualifying order. And then TCA, Luke Rumberg didn't have a great result yesterday off of the podium, but had the fastest lap. He'll start on pole for Forbush Performance. Yesterday's winner, Carter Fartuk, will start alongside. More on that as we get to those classes, but the first wave to come through is this one, the TCX field, with Jacob Rude starting to the right-hand side of the screen in the primarily blue BMW. He'll have Stephen Cugliari in the white car to his left. The second row, Steve Strymer, who showed well yesterday alongside John Hennessy, Olivia Askew, and Roy Block at the back of this six-car field. Coming to the green flag up the hill, Jacob Rude waiting patiently, looking for that green flag. He sees it and steps on the gas. He'll pull away to the big lead. It's Steve Strymer getting a nice jump from the inside of the second row.
Almost a cut and paste start from yesterday with Strymer. A nice run there down at the inside. Looks like he's cleared Cagliari. So we see the TC field.
Already three wide deep in the pack here. Great start from Rika in the Hyundai at the front of this pack. Smith looks like he's dropping back a little bit as the two Hondas team up together. They freight train their way up to second and third with Powell leading Boehm in that tandem. Now taking a peek for the lead.
Yeah, he got good speed there through turn one. He's got down to the inside, coming down into the brake zone for turn three here. Kevin Boehm just sitting back a little bit, waiting to see how this one plays out.
Rob Hines slips up to fourth to the inside of Austin Smith as well. The Honda giving that car a good ride. He had a top five finish yesterday, looking to build on that in race two.
So cool to see so many manufacturers duking it out with similar lap times.
That is one of the beauties of touring car racing. Here comes the Hyundai, though, back on the counterattack to the inside of Gronke. The Mini now trying to replicate that move as well. Williams to the inside of the Canadian Gronke.
Good little battle going on here. Great to see PJ having a strong season. Really digs deep, works hard with his race program. In a couple of years where he hasn't had the best of luck, but this year seems to be a bit more on song.
And to put it mildly, he does dig deep just to be here. With the border crossings from Canada and his day job, it really takes a great deal of sacrifice. Here's Austin Smith now attacking the pole sitter, Jeff Rika. He's able to make that move. This has been a nice rebound here for Smith, but this fight's not quite over yet as Rika holds tough on the outside.
Almost touched there. Got to give each other a little bit of racing room there as you come up through Billy Mitchell Bend into this final corner, turn 14. Pitching its rear wheel there up over the apex curbing is Jeff Rika.
Front-wheel drive cars have a tendency to do that, to carry the inside rear tire, which is really just there to follow the car along anyway when you steer and put the power down through the front axle. In the slipstream is Rika, but Austin Smith in the BMW was a rocket ship yesterday on the straightaways. We'll see if Rika can hang with him. For now, the answer is no. Meanwhile, Rob Hines has slipped around Kevin Boehm to pick up a spot. So Boehm, who charged early, doesn't seem to have that car quite to his liking. He's dropped back somewhat.
It's been a couple of tough weekends for Kevin Boehm coming off that TCR championship win. Solid start to the year. VIR he struggled a bit, and here yesterday didn't seem to have the straightaway speed of even Eric Powell. Admittedly, the Honda seemed to be down a little bit compared to some of their competitors here this weekend, but for Boehm seem to be struggling even more. And you can see him there, looks like he's looking for clean air to the front end and the grille of that Honda.
Now, the heat was an issue for the car yesterday. Not just the car, but the driver. Kevin telling us that had to take a lot of Pedialyte to get the hydration sorted out after a hot race yesterday. Not quite as hot today and more cloud cover, but even in these short races, it can take its toll on the driver behind the wheel, even with as much training as they do to prepare for these events.
Well, it's absolutely wide open. These are literally flat-out sprints here for 40 minutes, so it was pretty toasty here yesterday, as you said. A little bit more of a respite in terms of the conditions they're dealing with today. So now, Smith, he's cleared Rika a little bit. Now he's going to try and chase after Eric Powell, and Eric Powell recognizes that BMW is really strong here this weekend. he's going to have his work cut out to hang on to that lead.
I'll be keeping tabs on it in the rearview mirror, that's for sure. Back to the front of the field, and Cugliari has built the lead now to nearly 2 seconds over Jacob Rude.
Wow.
That is impressive for the newcomer.
His last lap was a 1.5 seconds quicker than Rude, so let's see what he comes up with this time. I mean, the car is just dialed in. He was really quick in qualifying yesterday morning, as you mentioned, Ryan, only a thousandth of a second off the pole time of Rude, and he is really hooked up here today.
Well, there's been a lot of learning going on for that team, the Cugliari team, because they haven't had a lot of consistency in conditions throughout the course of the weekend. The rain has been a factor in some of the practices and things of that nature, and for a driver who's trying to get up to speed here at Road America with the new car, new tire, not having that consistency really is a challenge to try and come to grips with everything when you have so many variables session to session.
You do, and that's really the challenge. And then we had the curveball of the weather here yesterday, but certainly the car looks really dialed in. It's handling well. Yesterday it looks like it was just getting bound up mid-corner and kind of getting twitchy on him. Today it looks like it's a much more comfy situation for him.
TCA fight is really on for second, third, and fourth. Here's third and fourth together. The 18 car of Bacon. Clayton Williams in the Mini getting a little bit loose there on exit as he bounces over the curbs. He's trying to find his way by. It's Carter Fartuck, the winner yesterday, who has seized the initiative here and holds a fairly substantial lead over Luke Rumberg, the pole sitter, who's dropped into second. Visually, you can see that's Fartuck leaving the shot just up the road. He has well and truly left this TCA battle in his wake.
Yeah, he is the man to beat in this class here this weekend. Certainly the Hyundais have a bit of pace. Rumberg coming off a victory at VIR, his teammate, championship leader, Caleb Bacon. 3 wins on the year, but super savvy driver. You can see him there dealing with the pressure that he had just a lap or two ago, and has got his way back into that top 3 position.
Fartuck talked about it some in his victory lane interview with Amanda yesterday, but basically he's in a position where to even have a sniff at the championship, he's got to go out and win. So this has to be music to his ears, the way that this race has begun.
Yeah, big swings in the points, 25 for a win, and the championship leader down in third. That would be a 10-point swing there. Big chunks that you could take out of a championship lead if you get on a roll.
Already a quarter of the way through this race, 10 minutes down or thereabouts, 30 to go. Solid leads for everyone in their respective classes. Cugliari by 2.2 seconds over Rude in TCX, Powell by 1.3 over Smith in TC, and then as chronicled, it's Fartuck over Rumberg by 3.5 seconds here in TCA. But that's not to say there aren't fights to keep an eye on as Clayton Williams continues to carry the Hyundai just up the road, trying to find his way around Bacon.
And I think the lead that's most vulnerable is the one we're looking at right now, that TC lead of Powell. Very aggressive at the start, got the lead, excellent opening lap, but suddenly Smith is now getting into his groove here and is catching our leader.
Rob Hines looking very strong in that Tech Sport run. Nissan as well. He's right in the slipstream with the pole sitter Rika. Rika very defensive in the Hyundai, keeping that car tucked against that inside pit wall to make sure that Hines has to go the long way around. And that's exactly what they'll try to do up in turn 1 as we check in with the overall leader once again.
Well, he cut a couple of laps that were about a second quicker than Jacob Rude, but suddenly that has settled down pretty identical on that last lap. So the gap at the front has kind of stabilized a little bit. Maybe he went super aggressive with his tire pressures in terms of the starting pressures to give him the grip initially. Maybe that's starting to settle down a bit.
What's going on down in the pit lane, Amanda?
Well, settling down is exactly what Classic was expecting. Actually, Steve Cugliari started on sticker tires, whereas Jacob Rude had to start on his qualifying tires. The Classic team was predicting that it would be like a lap or two away before those time would start equalizing out, but it looks like we're starting to hear it now.
Really interesting information. Thank you so much, Amanda. What can you tell us to put that into layman's terms, Cal? What's the difference that you would feel behind the wheel, stickers versus scuffs?
Well, they're just going to have a monster grip there for the first 2 or 3 laps, and then as the team suggested in Classic, and they're not going to deal with grip there off the road. That was really pushing things, so maybe they're starting to go away a little bit. Could have overpressured a little bit and sort of like got out of their sweet zone, but that will give Jacob Rude, who's chasing, good motivation to try and chase this leader down. So long way to go in this race. 28 minutes of this 40 still on the board right now. So Cugliari, very rapid pace here in the opening laps, but starting to settle down in terms of that delta between he and Jacob Rude.
And stickers or scuffs, it doesn't matter much if you're bouncing through the dirt in the grass. They will slide just the same. That definitely was what Rude wanted to see. This was Hines a moment ago. We talked about it. He was taking a peek to the outside of Rika, and it looks like he got the job done.
Yeah, really nice. Gives Rika some racing room on the inside of Apex. He just sweeps to the outside, but Rika's keeping the pressure on, as you can see now, down into Canada corner.
Rob Hines driving inspired here this weekend, and with a heavy heart. He lost his mother recently. Oh dear. That is one of the Skip Barber school cars. Pick up a number on that, but that's in the kink. That's where we saw Cugliari running off the road earlier. He got away with it. Not so much here.
This is going to be a big tank slapper. That's Brewer.
Yep, Lindsay Brewer behind the wheel.
Oh, that was close as well. This is going to change the complexion of this race for the leads that everyone had established.
Double yellows, full course caution here for that big impact for Lindsay Brewer. Safety team will be there as quickly as is possible to attend to her. That is a scary part of the track, Calvin. The kink is equally revered and feared by anyone who's ever driven through that corner.
Yeah, and the grass is a little bit damp. We've had a few bursts of rain here over the last few days, so not perfectly dry. And the key is, if you get off, you just got to try and get out of the power gently. Don't do anything abrupt. Keep your hands pretty straight as you can. It just got turned.
That brings to an end a nice stretch of green flag racing. Very competitive up to this point, and this also reset some of those big leads. So one thing it might do, if, for instance, we heard from Rude's team that they thought that the tires might equalize, well, now he doesn't have to try and overcome a gap, and the performance should be pretty equal there. But in some of the other classes where maybe there wasn't the discrepancy of stickers versus scuffs, those running in second might have been just preserving those P0s a little bit, and they'll have some more to work with when we do restart.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, I think, for Eric Powell, who leads the TC class. Smith is now right behind him again, and he'd have got into a rhythm here, but you know Powell's going to be digging deep here, trying to get second win on the year.
I don't think he was happy to see this full course yellow. Do you?
Well, Smith was coming, so it was inevitable that he was going to catch him with this much time on the board. So in some ways, it's a double-edged sword. There's going to be less time that he's got to defend on to try and hang on to that lead, so we'll have to wait and see how it plays out.
Some positive news to report. Well, first we see Lindsay Brewer out of the car. That is the best news of all. Amanda did speak with the team and got an update that they had received radio communication from her. And so that was what I was about to report, but this is even better that we see her out of the car, just taking a moment to collect herself, as you would expect after a heavy incident in the kink.
Yeah, that's a wild ride. It's not a nice feeling, and it's a big hit on the front end of that Honda. Very safe little race car that they've developed there, but yeah, tough day.
It is that for Lindsay Brewer, part of the Skip Barber Racing School operation, not just the title sponsor for the series, but they're viewing this as an opportunity not just to market the school, but also provide an element of driver development for drivers that have come through their racing school that show some talent or potential. This is true for mechanics also, and it's a multifaceted program that they put together, and see the TC America paddock as the appropriate place to highlight the different components of the school and possibly take some drivers from their single-seater racing series as well and plug them into a touring car and help propel their careers.
Yeah, it's a nice transition for all of the students who go through the Skip Barber Racing School, which is certainly one of the best in the business here in North America, and giving them somewhere to go. And great that guys like Eric Powell act as instructors for some of their programs that they have going. And sticking him in a car is really someone to bounce the data off is really a great asset as well.
It's a benchmark, isn't it?
It is.
He can get in the car, show what it's capable of, and now you've got a set of data to lay yours against and see this is where I can improve, or this is where I'm doing things pretty well.
Yeah, and there's nothing like that. Ideally, I think that's why it works so well in GT4 America in the Sprint X format, where you can have your driver coach co-driving with you. There's nothing like rolling the data over the top of one another from the same car on the same weekend, even in the same race. So, but this is really cool to have Eric out there running in a championship position, and for all of the other members of the team to have that data to work from.
At the risk of dating you a little bit, and that is not my intention, but I think it's safe to say the level of data available to these drivers today was not available to you in your racing career. Is that something you would have enjoyed having access to?
I would. I think I'd have been someone who would have embraced other drivers just like to go more by the seat of the pants, but I think I would have enjoyed that aspect of racing. And you know, I'd say with my racing career, you know, had some success, but I wasn't an absolute natural like some of the guys that I raced against. But I could achieve results just through hard work, repetitive lapping, getting a lot of testing done, and I think with the data available too, would just have accelerated that performance curve, I think.
We talk about data just in broad terms, but what exactly are the drivers capable of looking at? What is the car transmitting back to the teams that they can look at and learn from?
Well, there's not real-time data being transmitted in this particular class, but certainly they can download after a session and then sit down and look at it with your teammates, with your engineers and so forth. But there's so many sensors now that they can put on the cars, it's incredible. So it's really how much do you want to spend and how sophisticated of a system do you want to get and really detail everything. But the flip side of that is sometimes there's too much information to process. It's not like a Formula One team where you got a team back at the base and being able to pour through all of the data. So keep it somewhere in the middle. It's good to have that technology, but don't make it so complicated you can confuse yourself.
Getting an update from Amanda in the pits, Clayton Williams, who's been given that yellow Mini a really good run in the TCA class, is reporting intermittent loss of power, with the car maybe going into limp mode or perhaps a fuel pump issue. So that LAP Motorsports team that has run those minis with so much success over the years, based out of Brownsburg, Indiana, trying to figure out what's the best course of action here. Stay out and try and survive the problem, or bring it in and try and take a look at it.
Well, running under caution, I mean, there's the ability to come in and even spend a couple of minutes with the mechanics and get the car back out and stay on that lead lap. You're then out there running at speed to see if the car's going to perform as it should as you try and catch up to the pack here. Bit of a scary moment here. Guys literally catching up and flying through the kink with a big stack up.
That could have ended a lot worse than it did. The incentive to slow down there is clear. There's a lot going on with the safety crew who are exposed, and maybe this is a chance to say thank you to the safety crew, the corner workers, everyone behind the scenes that makes this happen. And in the case of the corner workers and safety crew, quite literally risking life and limb to ensure that we can go racing. And so that's why you see the abundance of caution there. But Calvin, as you know, within the last month or so, there was a stark reminder of just how dangerous it is to be a marshal, a flag operator at one of these racing circuits, with a really tragic incident that occurred over in the UK.
Yes, and sometimes you lose perspective in terms of, you know, people are here on the corners allowing everyone to go racing and giving up their time. It's typically volunteer work, so no one's paid. They just have a great passion for racing. So it's so unfortunate to hear of someone who loves racing to lose their life just doing something that enables everyone to race on a weekend. So certainly condolences to the family involved there in the UK, and I know it hit hard back in my home country.
And around the world too, the outpouring of support from very high places speaks volumes about just how crucial the corner workers are and the safety crew are for us to all do what we love, which is to go motor racing. And I hope we can get back to racing here soon. Obviously the cleanup continues. If you're just joining us, Lindsay Brewer had a very scary moment in the kink. Heavy accident for her Skip Barber Racing School Honda Civic. The good news is we saw Lindsay out of the car, and the report was she was able to speak to the team. So appears to be more or less all right, and I'm sure we'll get a good check over from the medical staff from the SRO And now the attention then turns to cleaning up the incident, and that could extend beyond simply cleaning up the car or any fluid that was dropped down. But with a crash of that magnitude, there's always the chance that some of those concrete blocks get moved, and that takes a while to reposition those. We've not received word that that is the case, but it is worthy of consideration at this stage based on what we saw.
Yeah, it's been a busy day for those track workers as well. We've had a few incidents. Some oil was dropped down in one of the early events today, GT America, with a big hit down in turn 3. So we lost the end of that race, unfortunately. But hopefully there's enough time on the clock that they can get Lindsay's car back on the flatbed and get it out of harm's way, and certainly get the track back in a safe operating condition. Those concrete barriers, as you mentioned, really heavy to work with, but they've got all of the equipment here with the support from Gale in terms of those big lifts that move those things around very, very quickly. So they've certainly got the support equipment in place here at Road America. It's a fantastic facility, not in terms of just the racetrack and being on the racing circuit itself for the races, but all of the facilities and spectator areas, and certainly the support equipment and stuff they have at top shelf.
They're prepared for any eventuality, as we have seen throughout the course of the day today. Continuing behind the safety car gives us a chance to preview what's to come for TC America, powered by Skip Barber Racing School. Trip up next in a couple of weeks' time to Watkins Glen. Follow that up with a trip down to Sebring. First time in a long time that this championship, or in its previous guys, Pirelli World Challenge, raced down at the iconic airport circuit in Florida. And then the season wraps up with a couple of races on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So from Road America to Watkins Glen to Sebring to IMS, not a bad way to conclude a racing season.
No, certainly iconic venues all bring a little bit something different to the table. Super fast, super smooth at Watkins Glen. Ton of grip at that racetrack these days since they resurfaced it a few years ago. And then polar opposite when you head down to Sebring. It's all about respecting the bumps at that circuit. 3.7 miles, just so much history, so much character, and super challenging.
Definitely so. No shortage of challenge on the schedule for the touring car drivers, and that is welcome news right there. Lights off on the safety car. Looks like we're going to be able to get back to green flag racing, and with still a fairly substantial amount of time left on the clock, with about 15 and a half minutes or so, close to 15 I suppose, when we get the green flag once again.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. How does Stephen Cugliari handle this restart? Having the lead really slows them up. Everyone's got the same identical horsepower in this class, so it's not like you're trying to defend for someone who has a slightly different performance factor.
Cugliari in his debut weekend in TC America has the lead over Jacob Rude, but Rude gets the jump on the restart, moves to the outside and makes the pass coming down the front straightaway. Here comes Steve Strymer now, moving to the outside of Cugliari in the fight for second.
Yeah, that was great anticipation there by Jacob Rude, and Cugliari's just hanging on as Strymer's got a good run on him as well.
Strymer falls back in line, can't get the move made around the outside. Can Cugliari go back on the attack? He's made the pass around Rude once already so far in this race. The fight for the overall lead and the battle in TCX, one and the same, and you're looking at it right here.
Wow, well, I think Jacob Rude didn't like being in anything but the lead there after that couple of laps where Cugliari had the lead. Then he started to struggle a little bit for the balance in the race car. Let's see what it's like on this reset here and the restart here this afternoon.
I think in the background I saw the Skip Barber Racing School car of Eric Powell with what appeared to be a fairly substantial lead. Someone slipping wide there. That's going to let Askew come through. I think that's Hennessy losing the 4th spot in TCX, but I think the TC lead has stayed with Powell. Looked like he got a good restart over Austin Smith. Keep an eye for that field as they come through, but for now the focus remains at the front of the field overall, with Rude leading Cugliari, but Cugliari not going quietly into the night. Now we drop back and find Powell. Smith got shuffled back big time.
Wow.
Rika is up to second. Kevin Boehm out of nowhere runs third.
That is awesome news for Eric Powell. I know he's threatened by that BMW here this weekend. He's got an awesome opening restart lap here and has gapped this field.
At what a restart from Bohm, who's not had the best of runs so far in this race. We'll see if he can hang tough in that third position or possibly even work his way forward some. Back to the TCA field now, and Carter Fartuck has consolidated the lead he held prior to that yellow, for now able to hold off the Luke Rumberg-driven car.
Go for the lead.
Oh, Cugliari to the inside at Canada corner. Gets it done under the brakes. It accelerates away up towards Billy Mitchell Bend.
Well, we talk about these cars should be identical, but I tell you what, Cugliari seems to have a little bit more straightaway speed than Jacob Ruud here this afternoon. So let's have to see how that plays out.
Oh, Ruud now back on the attack. He doesn't like this one bit, does he? Nice run out of turn 14. Strymer lying in wait in the third spot, but Ruud in the slipstream trying to track down Cugliari. He wants to keep that win streak intact.
Let's see if he can pick up the draft there. Look at that, Cugliari's kind of gapping him a little bit, despite Ruud being in the slipstream here.
Impressive pace from Cugliari, holds the inside line. Ruud squirming a bit under braking. Strymer goes wide.
Yeah, missed his turn-in point there, just got in there a little bit too deep, but recovers nicely.
He does, and Ruud unable to make any headway there through turn number one. It's equidistant, first, second, and third right there in this shot.
Boy, does Cugliari roll some speed through turn 3 there. I bet he's a mile or two up on that entry speed of the following chasers.
Top three breaking away in a pack of their own in TCX. Powell leading by 2 seconds over Rika in TC. Looked like Bohm was barely holding on over Smith at the stripe. Less than a quarter of a tenth of a second between those two at the stripe. The TCA lead still Fartuck by half a second over Rumberg, but we keep our eyes fixed here on TCX as Jacob Ruud trying to find his way back around Cugliari. Those two have swapped that top spot several times already.
Well, we talked about this being Jacob Ruud's home circuit. Brought up in Racine, Wisconsin, so he had all his family and friends here yesterday. He said it's great to have them here to watch me win. Well, he doesn't want to have them watch him see him get beat here this afternoon. He's going to keep digging deep.
Bohm not only lost third to Smith, he's lost fourth as well to Rob Hines, trying to get it back through Hurry Downs. Takes a peek to the inside in the red and gray CrowdStrike liveried Honda Civic, but can't make the move on that Nissan. Now the fight for the lead in TCA is on, with yesterday's winner Carter Fartuck trying to fend off the pole sitter Luke Rumberg.
Wow, where did that speed come from? I thought Carter was just going to take off on him, but Rumberg is right there. He's gapped his teammate Caleb Bacon, the championship leader here, by a significant margin on this lap.
Jose Blanco deserves the call as well, running solidly in fourth behind Rumberg's teammate Bacon, looking to get onto the podium. Here we go, back to TCX and Olivia Askew right there, running at the back of this field. She made that pass on Hennessy to get up to fourth, and at the very front still, it's now become a two-horse race with Cugliari and Ruud. Strymer not quite able to maintain the pace of the top two.
Yeah, things settling in a little bit here, so Cugliari has that lead. Really impressive. I just feel he's got a little bit more pace here today than Ruud. Is this the day that win streak comes to an end for Jacob Ruud?
Now Ruud will dive deep into his bag of tricks to try and do something about that. He'd love to keep the win streak going here on his home circuit. Here's Austin Smith on the counterattack. Oh, problems here for the 25 Tech Sport car.
Is that Canada?
Looks like it is.
Yeah,
PJ Gronke off in Canada corner. A little bit of bitter irony there for the Canadian. See what happened to him.
Oh, just loses it. Something amiss with the brakes there. You kind of come in there into that brake zone a little bit of an angle.
Oh, what a narrow miss that was. I think he clipped the mirror and might have otherwise got away with it.
Wow.
Yeah,
If he lost front brakes or something, they had all rear brakes when he got into the brake zone.
I do agree. That did look strange. It twisted sideways right as he went to the middle pedal. Luckily, that didn't end any worse than it did. Got away with one there, I have to say. TCA lead up for grabs. Here comes the pole sitter Rumberg, stalking Carter Fartuck, who needs this win to stay in the championship hunt.
Well, Rumberg certainly had pace in the race yesterday, indicated by the fast lap and the pole position for today. So starting to show that same sort of speed here now.
Final 10 minutes of race 2 of the weekend, race 8 of the season. We're past the halfway mark now, and so the desperation starts to sink in. If you're not in the championship position you'd like to find yourself in, that's exactly the case for Fartuck. And He's driving with that sense of desperation now, working to keep Rumberg in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, Rumberg's car looks really hooked up, was able to roll a little bit more speed through turn 5.
Fast right-hander of turn 6, especially in these cars. Doesn't take much of a lift, maybe a brush to the brake in the run to hurry downs. Steep descent here. Maybe it's a bit deceiving on the camera shot, but there is a pretty big elevation change there in that braking zone, which sets you up under the Johnsonville-Speedville Bridge for the run through the carousel. Back to TC we go, and here comes Austin Smith, still applying that pressure to the pole sitter in this class, Rika. And up ahead of him is the leader, Powell. And as far as Powell is concerned, as long as Rika can play the wingman, yeah, that's good news for him.
I was going to say the same thing. As long as he can look back there and still see that Hyundai, he's going to be pretty happy. But that bright blue BMW, Austin Smith, here he's got a run. He's not even using the draft. Just takes that left-hand lane up this front straightaway. Let's see if he can clear him.
Side by side, he gets up to the rear wheel well of the Hyundai, and this is the part of the straightaway where it must kick into the power band because the BMW just accelerates away. It's not a done deal yet, though. Rika's still with the preferred line to the inside.
Yeah, he's going to take it in deep as well. Now they go side by side, and this is just slowing both of them down. Perfect for Eric Powell, our leader right now.
Yeah, he's loving this out of the rearview mirror if he's bothering to keep a close eye on it. Rika able to hold off Smith through turn 3, but he's got another straightaway here to fend him off. The Moraine sweep, all 3,800 feet.
These two guys keep duking it out. Rika and Smith is going to certainly give Ryle Pines a chance of sniffing at that podium.
Tom Capizzi, by the way, on that last lap, you see him in the back of the picture, has made his way around Kevin Boehm as Kevin's struggles continue. He's got great restart pace, but not quite right when we get into the full race running. We saw that some yesterday, and it's manifested itself again.
See there, Smith really loading up his car there, trying to really just find as much speed as he can, but Jeff Rika holds on to that second position right now. Powell up front. Last time across the stripe there, pretty evenly matched in terms of pace, but Smith was the fastest driver, about 3/10 quicker than our leader, then half a second quicker than Jeff Rika, so the speed is there potentially, but he's got to do something with it. Starting to drift that car a little bit now, late in the going.
Well, to my eye at least, that group of 3, second, third, and fourth, are starting to catch the leader in the class. Powell's looking a little bit vulnerable here in terms of his ultimate pace relative to that pack. Speaking of vulnerable, Cugliari under attack now. Jacob Rude has 5 minutes and 49 seconds to work with, and he wants that lead back.
He does, probably 3 laps left to go here, so looks like Cugliari's getting really defensive with his lines there. Opens up the door, Jacob Rude down to the inside. This is going to be tight. They just miss each other, and big slide job coming off the corner.
Not a place you usually see a move like that. The element of surprise was on Rude's side, but Cugliari still had the answer and now is able to leg out a gap coming down the front straightaway once again.
That's really killed Jacob Rude's acceleration off that final corner, so he's got to settle back in and just try and find his groove again. He certainly feels that Cugliari is vulnerable here in the late going. Can he do anything with it?
That report from Amanda. Cugliari started this race on the sticker tires. Rude using scuffed tires. The team expected that to come back his way for Jacob as this race ran along, and we have seen that to some degree. The remarkable pace from Cugliari earlier has waned somewhat, and the two BMWs look pretty equal, possibly advantage Rude here since that restart.
Yeah, I think the deciding factor could be now this little gap. This will allow Stephen Cugliari to hit his marks, not get defensive and compromise his lap time. So this is big. How long can he maintain that gap, just continue to run the lap times he's capable of without, as I say, compromising them by getting defensive?
Back to the TC battle. This is the Moraine sweep, the run from turn 3 to turn 5. And Powell's lead has dissipated substantially. It was under a second at the line. It looks closer than that here. Jeff Rika, the pole sitter, all of a sudden flexing the muscle in the Hyundai.
Yeah, he's looking really strong here in the late going, so Eric Powell's just got to dig deep. You know he wants it badly. He wants to keep that championship contention going on. Had the big win in the opening round of the championship, but since that time has yet to be in victory lane again.
Let's go to the pits. What are you hearing, Amanda?
Well, guys, you'll remember at the top of the show, we talked about the Honda versus the Hyundai battle that we might have here in the TC class. Was able to sneak by and talk to Eric Powell ahead of this race. He's frustrated with the power that he's finding in the Honda, especially on those straightaways. I was impressed watching the restart here and what Eric was able to do. But as we close in onto the final stages of this race, it's going to be that front straightaway that Eric is going to have to muscle this car headed into turn 1 to maintain lead over Jeff Ricca.
Oh, and we've seen that front straightaway proved to be the difference. That start-finish line is a long way down, about 2,200 feet out of turn 14. And how many times over the history of this place, Calvin, has it turned into a drag race right through here?
Yeah, you drive it in your rear view mirrors. If you have the track position trying to hang on, as you say, you think, where is it? You crest this hill, it's like, where's the start-finish line? It's just a long way down the road before you get to, as you can see right there.
About halfway along that 4,400-foot Road America straight.
2 more laps here for these leaders. Should be white flag next time by.
Not a ton of time left for Jacob Ruud to keep the win streak alive, but he's got a lot of motivation under that helmet, plenty of talent to go with it. Cugliari, though, continuing to impress in his first weekend of TC America competition.
This is where the pressure really kicks in. This is where it starts to get in your head. So close to victory. Can I bring it home? Don't make a mistake. Don't miss a breaking point. Don't open the door for the chasing championship leader, Ruud.
Up front in TCA, Fartuk has been able to extend the gap over Rumberg just a little bit, close to a second the last time by. Rumberg, though, not going anywhere, staying close enough to at least be a menace to the race leader in that class, Carter Fartuk.
Yeah, Rumberg really impressive here today. As fast laps, about 3 to 4 tenths quicker than his championship leader teammate. So super impressive run here for Luke.
Saw glimpses of that pace yesterday in race number 1. Fastest lap of the race went to Luke Rumberg, and he's right there in the slipstream here. The Hyundai looking strong in the straight line section.
Yeah, big draft there. See the brake lights flicker. I think Fartuk was just make sure the brake pedal's going to be there. You use a lot of the curbs here at Road America that get that little kickback going with the brake pads. And suddenly the pedal's a little bit long when you need it.
Here is the fight for the lead in TCA. Just as I said, the lead had expanded. It has shrunk to nothing. Luke Rumberg right there in the slipstream once again. Carter Fartuk is going to have to go into his bag of tricks to keep the Hyundai behind him.
Yeah, and you see there's only a minute left on the board, but for these guys, should be another lap and a half because the time and the clock is really dictated by the overall leader, of course.
2 cars look as one. That's how close they are into the braking zone. Here comes Rumberg late on the brakes. Was it too late?
He's super deep there, runs out a little bit wide. Fartuk gets the crossover there, gets that track position, should assume the lead again as they turn into turn 6.
If nothing else, though, that was educational for Rumberg. He knows he's going to have one more crack at it right there. Now he knows what not to do.
Just overcommitted a little bit. Just need to slide it down the inside a little bit more gradually. Just control that situation, keeping the guy you're running against out to the outside and keep it tidy. He can do it. He's just got to make it a little bit more finesse with that move.
White flag displayed to these two, the overall leaders, the leaders in TCX, with Cugliari still leading the championship leader, Jacob Ruud, who has won every race thus far this season in that class. TC is going nowhere either, with Eric Powell, Jeff Ricca, Austin Smith all together, taking that white flag as well. Just 4 miles to go for this battle.
And it's been a great one. Can Powell hang on? Look at this. Hines is in the party as well. Every one of these 4 cars and drivers has a shot at the win here. 4 different manufacturers represented.
Ricca has to go defensive into turn number 3 to fend off Austin Smith, the BMW that won yesterday. Austin with a nice run out of turn 3 right there in the slipstream. If these two start to fight, that's a gift for Eric Powell, who holds the lead. And keep an eye on Rob Hines in the Nissan. He's right there too.
Smith looking, but he's dropping back. Ricca's got pace down these straightaways. Powell's car looks good. Thought he was definitely dropping off the pace, but he's maintained it at this stage.
And now the final 4-mile run for the TCA leaders begins. Tom Hansing with the white flag in hand. Carter Fartuk has built that gap up just a bit. more of a cushion than he had this time last lap over Luke Rumberg, but Rumberg continues to stalk him, runs wide on the exit of 1. This is where he was so strong on the last lap, Calvin, on the exit to 3, and got that drag race down to the inside of turn 5. Just a little too late on the brakes last time. He might try it again, though, this time.
And you know that's in Carter Fartuk's memory right now. Will he get defensive here and run the left-hand side as they get down through this little kink here? Decision-making time. Do you compromise your speed through turn 5 but don't keep the door open? Let's see what he does.
It was a late lunge to the inside last time from Rumberg. He's not close enough to attempt it this time. Fartuk, though, does go defensive. Meanwhile, to the checkered flag, lights flashing, flag waving, and Steve Cugliari wins in his debut weekend at TC America at Road America. TC field here. Powell still out in front. The fight is for second. Rika in the Hyundai, Smith in the BMW, right there in the rear wing. Goes a little bit wide through Billy Mitchell Bend.
Yeah, throwing everything at it and the kitchen sink, trying to wrestle that second position away, but Rika's looking good.
Eric Powell, on what has been a frustrating weekend, has built the gap. He will drag race to the line and take the checkered flag first. Eric Powell wins in TC. Road America race number 2 to the Skip Barber Racing School. Driver Jeff Rika from pole brings it home second, and it's a win and a third place finish for Austin Smith in the BMW.
Well, that little win streak is over for Austin Smith. He gave it his all today, another strong podium run, but he was going for 4 on the bounce here.
Still a strong weekend for him that has him right back in the championship conversation. Now we wait for the results of the TCA battle. Here is the leader, and Fartuk has extended that gap. Looks like Rumberg took his shot and didn't have another arrow left in the quiver.
No, great drive here by Carter this weekend. He knew that he had to get going if he was going to have any chance of catching Caleb Bacon in the championship picture. And the perfect weekend. Looks like he's going to sweep it.
Carter Fartuk knew he needed a maestro performance at Road America to stay in the championship hunt. He has performed exactly that. It's a sweep of the weekend for the Pennsylvanian. Carter Fartuk across the line. He wins race number 2 at Road America.
Great performance, but great chase there by Rumberg, should I say. 4-bus performance, having a really strong season. Looking down the road, I don't see his teammate. There's the shuffling there in the last lap for the final podium spot.
Looks like Jose Blanco got through to third. Yeah. We're still waiting for Caleb Bacon to cross the line, and it's actually Sally McNulty who comes home in 4th.
How cool is that?
Fantastic stuff for her. That little operation put together a huge weekend here at Road America.
Been some, here we see some bits and pieces, so maybe there's some drama on that last lap with Caleb Bacon and company.
Would appear that way. CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race to the newest race winner in TCX, the only race winner not named Jacob Rude, Stephen Cugliari, with the fastest lap presented by CrowdStrike.
Well, Jacob Rude may not like it, but I certainly like the picture here. We've got some real stiff competition for him for the second half of this season.
Now, it's just great to see the TCX class grow. It made its debut at Sonoma and has continued to impress as the season has gone along. More and more interest. There are the results by 1 second. Cugliari over Rude. Strymer, a solid podium run once again for Hard Motorsport in 3rd. Olivia Askew putting together a quiet but strong weekend with the 4th place run. Then Hennessy and Block completing the TCX field. Eric Powell worked hard for that one, held off Jeff Rika and Austin Smith, but what a scrap it was between the top 3 in TC.
It was. Eric Powell, I think, was super determined today to try and right the ship and not see that championship lead dwindle anymore.
Caleb Bacon did not complete that lap. You see him listed there in 25th overall and well down the order in TCA. Sounds like a flat tire is the culprit. Got that just now from Amanda in the pit lane. Heartbreaking for him after a really solid run up to that point, but it does lead to some cool stories with Fartuk sweeping the weekend. Rumberg, a nice run to second. Jose Blanco, a memorable podium for him in VGMC, and then Sally McNulty, 4th place finish for Team Sally Racing. in TCA.
This man is going to be super excited to get that win. This is a big day.
Oh, look at the emotion
That's
there.
cool.
That's what it's all about. The step into TC America presented by the Skip Barber Racing School here this weekend. And it was a step into the deep end in a lot of respects. Raced his way to the front, lost the lead again, had to find his way past Jacob Rude, who's got the home track knowledge, and Cugliari was able to pull it off, and now congratulated by Rude. Great sportsmanship there between the top two in TCX.
Yeah, it was a great fight, so congratulations to Stephen, but great job by Jacob keeping him honest there all the way through.
Let's hear from Stephen now. He's with Amanda.
And Jacob did come over and patted Stephen on the back and said that was some good stuff. So you can see that Jacob enjoyed that battle as well. You take down the guy that has swept the entire season. Where did you find that performance today?
You know, a bit of luck and a lot of putting my head down based on the performance yesterday. We had, have minimal testing with the car, so I feel like, just a good team, good setup. I got to thank Jason Hoover for giving me an incredible car. My girlfriend, Kara. Alex Barroso, who's on the team as well. My mom, my uncle, the whole family. It's been a great race.
Congratulations.
A lot of fun. Thank you.
And welcome to the championship. I hope we see more of Stephen Cugliari after a drive like that one.
Yeah, for certain. Keeps Jacob honest, that is for sure. So great performance, great battle. Didn't flinch when the pressure was on there. The last couple of laps kept hitting his marks and brings it home for his first win.
A third and a win for Stephen and the Accelerating Performance team in their debut. Not a bad haul, that's for sure. Attention now turning to the TC field where Eric Powell got it done. He did everything he needed to do to pick up the win, and his reward is a chat with Amanda.
Well, as we alluded to, guys, Eric has been looking for the performance this weekend to get this win. And when I talked to you prior to this race, you said you're going to have to dig for this victory. How did you do it?
Yeah, I wasn't optimistic about that one. So we got some really fast cars. I'm up against it on the straightaway. I wasn't able to hold them off yesterday. They just drove right around me. Thankfully, they were racing each other really hard, and that was my saving grace. So I was able to kind of maintain the gap I had only because of that. But I can't say enough about this APD Civic Type R Skip Barber Racing School. That, brand new team this year. We're winning in both classes. It's just such a I'm just so proud to be a part of it all. Our team is on all cylinders. I mean, I wish I could think of everybody's name right now, but from the top, Anthony, Dan, Chris, Adam, Dustin, Justin, the other Dustin, Mike Stillwagon right here. If I forgot your name, I'm sorry, but incredible effort. So,
Eric, in your words, what do you make of this championship battle?
That's what I'm here for. I mean, I race to win races. I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of that in this championship, but I have never been able to seal the deal for whatever reason. So we're trying to get it done this year.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Well, that win will certainly help in that pursuit of the championship. There's the smile I've been waiting for. That was hard-earned, and maybe some of the stress of the weekend was showing in the interview, but there you can see what it means.
He was so determined. You could tell from a few texts I had with him earlier today that he was frustrated about yesterday. He feels he's driving really well. The car is well set up, but didn't quite have the power to deliver yesterday. But he just nailed the start, nailed the restart, and had enough of a gap to work with.
And his teammate, albeit in the TCA class, is the race winner there. Carter Fartuck is with Amanda.
Well, Carter, we are officially in the back half of this season, and you knew what you were up against this weekend with the points battle. How big of this weekend was for your team?
To be honest, I mean, everything that Skip Barber has done, just for not only for me, but for everyone else in the racing community, is incredible. And right now, what we have going on in this team, you just wait and see what we have going on, and all the hard work and everything that everybody put on. I mean, Eric just swept TC race as well. So, I mean, this is all for Skip Barber, all the great teamwork that we had under the tent. And I mean, I can't believe it. This is incredible.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Some well-deserved wins for a number of drivers that really needed them here this weekend. And then you've got the storyline in TCX with Cugliari impressing so much on debut. And you could see it means so much to the families as well, the friends and the families that support these drivers and teams. It's a lot of the focus is on the ones behind the wheel, but it takes a village to make this all work.
It really does. That's certainly a great start to the race for our championship leader, Jacob Rude there. Takes off, Strymer gets down the inside, but great battles throughout the field in all of the classes today.
Kevin Boehm was magic on starts and restarts. Ultimately didn't quite have the pace to get the finish he was looking for. Here's Cugliari taking the lead away from Jacob Rude. He was able to hold on and pick up the win there. Jeff Rica, Rob Hines fighting for position here. Hines definitely featured this weekend. That might be a preview of things to come.
Yeah, it was, and a big moment here for Lindsay Brewer. Just gets a little bit wide through the kick, nearly hangs on to a big tank slapper, heavy impact with the wall.
Happy to report, though, she was out of the car under her own power and was relatively all right. That brought out the full course yellow late to this restart, and look at the jump Jacob Rude got.
Yeah, he gets the lead before the stripe even, but Cugliari returns the favor, gets the lead, and grabs the win.
He does. A great weekend of touring car racing at Road America. We'll see you for the next round at Watkins Glen.